Hello YouTubers, Manny here from Manny's How To Workshop with another video on this 2013 Kia Rio hub and bearing replacement. So this is the hub that I got and bearing from Rock Auto. This is the part number in case you wanted to know. And these are some of the tools that you may need for this job. These what do you call it? Open end, box end, ratcheting wrenches, a metric socket set, some long needle nose pliers, depending what type of brake system you have. Mine has the disc brakes, but the this model also comes with drum brakes, and so you might need some long pliers and some special brake spring removal tools like these, like this one here. And there's one more little guy. Where did it go? Oh, right here. This little guy right here. And this is used to push in that little clip that holds the pin from the back of the drums. And you push it in, turn it, and it allows it to come out. But on mine, like I said, I don't need it because it's disc brakes. And so the issue that I was having was that when I'm driving the car, on the driver's side left rear, I could hear this, not grinding, but like humming sound. And after all the testing I did beforehand, I still, came up with the solution that it's got to be the left rear hub and bearing. So like I said, this is the new one. This is my sheet, my service manual sheets. For example, for putting back the tire, the lug nut torque is the range is 65 to 79.6, so you can just go 65 to 80. And when you torque it, somewhere in the middle is good. I chose to do it in 75, which I already have my 1/2-inch torque wrench preset to 75 foot-pounds. And then for the hub and seal, for the bolts that actually hold the hub onto the axle, the torque for those is, let's see, it's 36.2 to 43.4 foot-pounds. And I preset my 3/8 torque wrench to 40 foot-pounds. Okay, that allows it so that you don't over torque it and it's within the specs. Okay, so basically what you need to do is take off the tire from the axle. And when you take off the tire, even though mine, for safety, I have it on jack stands on both sides, right across that main axle, right there, or axle frame rather. Put the tire right underneath the car. That's for an extra safety measure in case if the jacks give out for some reason, the car would still fall on this, even though you're not underneath the car. But if you're sitting close to the axle and working on it, you could still get injured if the car falls down and it hits you in the leg and whatnot. All right, so just to take off the tire, I use my trusty Impact Mini 1/2-inch air impact wrench with a 21 mil socket. That's the size for the lug nuts. That's right over there. And zipping those off is pretty easy. On this one, it's got settings 1, 2, 3. 3 being the highest. It's got more torque. I think this little guy can go up to like 250 foot-pounds. It's what it's rated for. Yeah, also, so it's 1/2-inch, and you have to have at least 90 psi of air to operate this. Okay. So once you get the tire off, the next thing you're going to take off is the the caliper. Okay, as you can see, like I said, this one has the caliper and rotor system, and basically there's 2 main bolts that hold on the caliper. Okay, and they're right over here where my finger's pointing, and I've already loosened it, but there's one up here, and then there's one right down here. Okay, if you can see that right there. And basically, like I said, you take that off. And switch hands here. And just make sure you set the bolts off to the side, close to each other, so you don't lose them. And for the caliper, you want to hang it out of the way. Okay, and if you give me 1 second here, I'll set this up and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. All right, so as I was saying, I'm already sweating buckets over here. You just lift off the caliper. Make sure you have the like a little mini bungee cord like this that you can hook it on there. And when you lift it off, you want to hang it off to the side. And anywhere you can find to hang it, it just so happens I have this big bolt here. That way it keeps the pressure off of your lines. Okay. And then after that, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver for this retaining screw right here. Now these should only be torqued to about 5 foot-pounds, and once you take this off, it should allow you to get this rotor off. And usually I just give a little tap like that, set your rotor off to the side. Now this is the hub and bearing set. It's a pre-packed set from this factory. So this is not like old school. You actually have the race and then the bearing, and they separate from each other. You need a puller to pull it out. They made it kind of easy. So with this one, as you can see, Kia made access holes for the bolt heads. And if you have an impact like this one, this has got enough power. It's got a lot of torque to zip these out. So just line it up the holes, and once again, put your bolts close to where you won't lose them. Alright, so once you get the hub off, and you can see that this one has some rust, some moisture got back there, but this is the complete unit. And if I spin it like that, you don't hear the sound. But I believe that this one is bad because when the car is under load, that's when you hear that constant, like, you know, it makes a distinguishable sound where you know that something's coming up, you know, from back here. But since I have the new one, I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway. And this is your ABS clock ring that senses, you know, the pulses to make sure that your ABS works correctly. Oh yeah, also a set of deep sockets, metric deep socket set will be handy, especially as you can see that I actually used one of them, which is this is a, for these bolts it's a 12 mil, just to let you know. And the caliper bolts, those were 14 mil. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab the new one, and now sometimes what I like to do also is all on these surfaces here, I like to put some never cease, and let me get some of that. Alright, so this here, it's brake protection paste with brush, but like I said, you can hold on a second, let me get a rag because I gotta wipe that off. You can use it, like I said, it's meant to go when you're using like the when you're changing out the brake pads. It goes on the back of the brake pad plate, and that's what keeps it. So for next time when you come back, it makes your job easier. Okay, all right. So usually, like I said, just Put a little dab on there. Let's see, squeeze that. There we go. Just take a little bit like this. And all you're doing is putting it right on the face of where the hub actually mounts to the axle. Oh. Okay. All right. Yeah, you got to make sure you keep, anything like grease from this ring. That way it doesn't interrupt the sensor, the ABS sensor, which is right up in here. Matter of fact, let me wipe that off. Just make sure there's no dust. There's a plastic dust cover that's in there that helps to keep debris from going up in there as well. And that's right there. That's what I'm talking about. This is black dust cover. Alright, so this hub comes with these aligning holes. And as you can see, there's two pins, aligning pins right there. So all you got to do is put it on there, line it up on the holes, and it sits right in there for you. Also, as an added measure, to make sure that nothing happens to where this can back off, because as you know, this heats up pretty good when you apply your brakes. I'm going to use some Loctite. This one's a medium hold, okay, and it doesn't take much. So you just take your bolts and you put a couple of drops right on it like that, okay, and right now just going to use the socket to feed it in there like this, just to get the holes, get it started. And I'm going to do that for all of them. A couple of drops. Now when they came from the factory, these also had Loctite on them. But I think the factory, they used the maximum, well, minimum, medium, yeah, maximum strength. Because the first time you break the torque on them, you can tell. Like I said, just a couple of dabs and you're good to go. Really? It's not hot today, but the humidity is there. Like I said, start it with your fingers, and once you know they're there, then you can finish zipping them in. Not all the way, like you don't want to zip it down, because this thing, like I said, has torque on it. You just want to suck them in like that, just a little bit, and then now we can get our torque wrench and then torque into the torque spec. Like I said, this torque wrench is set to 40 foot-pounds. Make sure it's, yep. Now the book doesn't really tell me, if you have to go crisscross or around, but good rule of thumb is always crisscross. Doesn't matter where you start, just as long as you follow the same pattern. Alright, when you hear that click, that's when you know that, let's see, that it's there. I'm going to get a small extension because the torque handle was up against the car and it wasn't giving me a nice 90-degree angle on it. Just to let you know, if you use an extension on a torque wrench, As long as the axis is still the same, you're not losing the torque. The torque is still the same. If this handle was extended, that's when your torque would actually get more. So you got to be careful of that. But as long as it's on the same axis, the torque doesn't change. It's still 40. You set it to 40, it's going to be 40. Once again, just go until you hear the click. All right. And then, like I said, crisscross pattern, which is usually what I follow. And once you do that, now you can come back and just to double check, you can just go all the way around just like you would your lug nuts when you're putting those on. Okay. All right. That's a good measure. Now we can mount the caliper, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put Loctite on the bolts. Like I said, that's a 14 mil. I have my 3/8 ratchet here. I'm going to snug them down. Then I'm going to use this guy to finish him off. Okay. And let's see. Oh, hold on. Missed a step. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So I actually got to put the rotor back first. And then right here, make sure you line up this little hole with the hole for where that Phillips head goes. Just like that. Okay. And this little Phillips head screw, like I said in the book, it says to torque it down to 3.6 to 4.2 foot-pounds. But obviously, you can just tighten it hand tight, because all this is doing is helping to hold this rotor in place for you. And like I said, hand tight is good. Okay, now we can go ahead and mount the rotor. Okay, so it's right there. All right, same thing. Couple of drops on the threads, and line up your caliper. And once the top catches, it's going to line up the bottom for you. All you got to do is lift it up a little bit like that to line it up, and then see. Yep. Go ahead, do the same thing here. Cap that off. All right, and then come in from the back. Find the hole. Like I said, there we go. You just clicked in place, and then you want to start it finger tight. I mean, as far as you can get it in until it stops. That way you're not using the wrench to cinch it all the way down. So, okay. So for these two bolts right here for the caliper, the book says 36.2 foot-pounds to 54.4 foot-pounds is what I believe it says. But we're gonna go ahead and see if I'm gonna be able to get in there. This big guy. Oh, may not need the extension. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 50, because once again, I like to go right in the middle range of the torque. And see, and this one has the lock. You pull down to unlock, let go, and it locks it in place to where you are. As you can see, this one has increments of 0.5 foot-pounds. So from 0 to 0 is 5 foot-pounds. And then you see the scales, they go up and down. Okay, so it's already on tightening mode. Now this one you can do top first, bottom first, it doesn't matter. There's only two of them. Now sometimes this can be tricky, but there we go. So maybe just a little bit at a time, but once you get it there, and once you hear it click, not there yet. Oh, I think I just heard it. One more for good measure. There it is. Now the bottom one should be a lot easier because there's nothing in the way. Yep, I'm just gonna cinch it down. All right, here we go. There we go. All right. And there you are. And the only reason that's making that sound is because of the brake pads. So what I'm probably going to do is end up taking these pads out, and all that requires is that you take out this bolt and this bolt to pull this top part out. The pads will come out because there could be some brake dust in there that's causing that. So, but other than that, that's it. That's how you swap out your hub and bearing for this axle on this 2013 Kia. As always, guys, please rate, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you can get notifications of when I upload new videos. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.